Good afternoon, Thunder. We're here to watch our audit.
Then what happens? The drummer boy comes
Wow, 104. It's like cold here today. Hey, Gina.
right? If it wasn't for Donald
Ow,
Trump,
ow, ow, ow. I just hit my
if it wasn't
foot.
for Donald
Messy
Trump,
house.
who else would have saved America? Who the fuck else? Donald Trump saved these officers from the rioters.
Dusty.
Yeah.
Dusty saves him. It saves her.
Dusty.
He saves everyone. Herman's in the house.
I live a fucking slave life.
Gotta turn my thing
I
on
can
here.
tell these white niggers too.
Stop. I gotta get out. I gotta
He's gotta stop
gotta
saying
mute
the
it.
N-word.
Be nice with the language.
Only
Jeez.
God kills people because he created you, but not us. We're supposed to love one another, all colors, all nations, except
Morning, guys. Shark Guy? I don't know. He's probably. Did you see Shark Guy at all? 3-inch?
No.
Hey, Miriam. Good morning.
I
Good
boycotted him
afternoon.
because he
Hey,
like
For
tagging us a
you.
little bit.
Who? Oh.
Just gotta learn, grow up, and be a man. Right? When someone says to you,
Hey,
hey,
Jennifer.
that's
Hey,
enough.
it's always
right?
something.
And he keeps
I've
doing it.
missed
What do you
talking
do?
with you.
Well, I know what you
It's been a
do.
crazy week.
You set him straight. But I wonder if he's signing us up over there.
Maybe. Who knows? I know there's a 9 o'clock right now.
Yeah, what's that? What, like,
I forget what it was, but
We'll
there's a 9
listen
o'clock.
to
there's,
Audit.
yeah, I saw there was some kind of, I want to say Wrexham Parks. One of these days I'll have to get to the early morning ones.
Tomorrow's 8:30.
Turn
What
her
one's that
volume
for?
down.
You know, yesterday
Uh huh.
I just got it on real.
Okay.
the windows down, and guess who I saw up on the city hall stairs up there?
Who?
Some little black
It
bug.
feels weird being on this side of the camera this week.
Where was she? Like,
Little was right up these stairs here. You look straight across the street.
I'm
he was
leaving
up
it
there
on just to.
pacing.
I am sick
Word
for the
got
third
out.
day. Oh
What the
no.
fuck is David
Oh, I'm so
O'Connor,
sorry,
the federal
Miriam.
judge, gonna do to us, right?
Do you have a
She's pacing,
virus?
Like, little, and she's like, "Am I hearing things?" And all of a sudden,
Morning,
she runs to
Haggis.
the wall and looks over.
How
Nobody's
are
there.
you today, darling?
I think they're all very nervous right now because with that case, that court case.
Psychological warfare
Yeah.
is paying off. It's paying off.
Well, because that court case is all about the housing, and she's the housing chair.
She's a homeless housing.
Yeah, and that whole case, Judge
Yeah,
Carter,
definitely
right? She's got to
I
be
hope you're
concerned.
feeling
And
better.
David Carter got specific orders from
I'm gonna
Trump.
turn this down, but I just want to keep the volume a little bit.
Or I'm gonna step in.
Well,
And now the DOJ, Department of
I'm gonna
Justice.
put it back up. I'm just gonna mute it, just in case there's any issues there. Dogs are drinking just cause they wait for me to go live to get their water. Aw, man. Hope it's not the COVID. I know, right? It's supposed to, I told you it was supposed to thunderstorm like crazy later. I'm hoping not. Because it's so hot and humid that if it cools down, we might end up with those whirly winds. We don't need no whirly winds today. I wanted to look up, okay, so here's the police commission. I'm going to go to, I'm going to get hooked up just so that way I'm hooked up. Join meeting. Sorry, I'm getting this done up here. We're gonna join from the browser. And then go back and open link a new tab. Dog, you're not gonna die. Stop. She's hot too. Almost there, you guys. Okay. We're waiting for them to hook us up. Bummer. I am so sorry, Miriam. Do your breathing exercises. Hey, Irish. Hi, good morning. Do breathing exercises. What the hell? Come on now. I'm just keeping an eye. Hi, Kathy. Good morning. I have missed you guys. I will get back onto my morning sunshine schedule. I promise. I'm finally getting to where I'm getting up early enough. That reverse time difference sucked. Put me in for a whirl. But I did want to look up. I wanted to look up the definition. What is human trafficking? From the state of California. Human trafficking, also known as trafficking in persons or modern-day slavery, is a crime that involves compelling or coercing a person to provide labor or services or to engage in commercial sex acts. The coercion can be subtle or overt, physical or psychological, and may involve the use of violence, threats, lies, or debt bondage. Exploitation of a minor for coercion, regardless of whether form of force. Human trafficking does not require travel or transportation of the victim across local, state, or international borders. Okay. Sorry, while I'm trying to, that dag nabbit. Why does that always do that? What happened to, my computer keeps going persnickety. Hmm. I've been working on a portrait of my grandbaby girl. This doesn't quite look like her. I can't get her cheeks right because she's only 7. It's coming along, but I can't get it right. I can't get her, you know how baby cheeks. She hasn't lost her baby cheeks yet. And I can't get her baby cheeks. I have to figure out, that's what I was asking Tilty yesterday, if she knows how to do portraits. I have to figure out how to get her baby cheeks. You know how little kids, their cheeks are so rounded, puffy. Hey, VGI, good morning to you. Yep, we're going to do the police commission. We're going to talk about Janet today. At least I am. Hey, Animal Audit Corner. Well, I'll give you the link. Let me get it. I don't think that it's this last week they actually let quite a few people in. So hopefully they will today too. Here's the link, Nisa. Yeah, yeah, at least I get to paint her a few times while I'm trying to figure it out. Every time I move off from there, it drops it on the. I'm just kind of keeping an eye on it. Oh, excuse me. While we wait for them to pop in. That's F-bomb guy. He had his N-word going already this morning. Thank you. I appreciate that comment, VGI, but nah, it's just me. If you would, please, Miriam. I'm not going to take any offense if you're over there helping to support her chat. She's been getting a lot of trolls in there. I don't mind at all. And you guys know me, I'm not gonna talk once the meeting starts up anyways. We'll go into quiet mode. Oh, very cool, Haggis. Thank you. Yeah, I don't expect any trolls in here anyways. It was different being there. Yeah, that's okay, Miriam. Go help audit. I understand. I know I'm one of her mods too, but I can't do both. I just need to start blocking people and bumping people for. I know she figured out how to block words. So hopefully that'll help. I'm going to be nice to the dogs, though. I'm going to turn the AC back on. I turned it off for a while because it was getting cold in here, actually. We have outside temp of 88 degrees and humidity of 82%. It's going to be a wild one later today. Okay, doggies, I'll turn it back on. They haven't even, looks like they haven't even come into the place yet. Are we spiraling or is she spiraling? Sorry, answering a text. Okay, looks like they're going to start it up here. Do 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 do. They are, is she spinning for you guys too? Let me see, let me go to window capture. Okay, let's go to there because they're gonna start putting that on any second anyways. She is back. Okay, cool, thank you. Yeah, it was spinning on my end. Okay. Okay, good. I thought it was just mine. But it looks like they're gonna pop on right now anyways, so we'll just put it on theirs. Okay, let's go, peoples. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, they're all sitting, so obviously, there we go. Into the
Recording in progress.
We have the best president in the world who's got balls, except he got pranked and
Hey, Laura, you have the
by
link?
the Jews when
I
they
think I
did
posted it on
what?
my
They
thing.
still send bombs to destroy people. After we gave them a bomb, they go out and bomb fucking shit.
So yesterday was an interesting meeting.
So that's the reason
I like
why
because they didn't talk a lot.
it's coming soon,
Soon.
Why are
or
we
later.
getting
I
it?
can't tell you the
Oh,
time
yeah.
and place because God doesn't even tell you the time and place of these actions.
Yeah, so we posted the page
The
one.
time and place in our name.
So it's a-
No problem. The time
Why
is
are we
Morning.
getting that kind of?
Commissioners,
There we go.
Chief McDonald, Mr. Sibley, Madam Secretary, Inspector General Matthew Barragan, Mr. City Attorney Carlos de Aguirre, and members of the public. Today is Tuesday, June 24th, 2025. It's 9:30 a.m. This is a regular meeting of the Los Angeles Board of Police Commissioners. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Good morning. Please let the record reflect that Commissioners Sellers, Shields, Garcia, Sanchez, Gordon are present, and we have a quorum. Mr. President?
Thank you. We welcome everyone attending this morning. The Police Commission is committed to ensuring equal access to its meetings. It is requested that individuals who require the services of a translator contact the board secretary no later than the day preceding the meeting. Whenever possible, a translator will be provided. Sign language interpreters, assistive listening devices, or other auxiliary aids and/or services may be provided upon request. To ensure availability, you are advised to make your request at least 72 hours prior to the meeting you wish to attend. All public comment will be heard during item number 2 on the agenda. We will dedicate a total of 45 minutes to public comment. Members of the public will have 1 minute per agenda item for a maximum of 2 minutes total. At the request of the speaker will be given 1 additional minute for general public comment for a maximum of 3 minutes total. Members of the public, if you choose to participate in the public comment portion of the agenda, you can participate in this meeting in a number of ways outlined on the agenda. Members of the public who participate in public comment are reminded that they can speak to any item on the agenda or a matter within the jurisdiction of the Board of Police Commissioners. Public comment is your opportunity to address the board, so you are free to express your opinion on matters before the board and to generally express when you disagree with other opinions expressed. However, directing your comments to other individuals who have spoken or attacking others who have expressed their opinions shall be deemed off topic and your public comment period will be concluded. Message for those attending the meeting in person. These meetings are regular meetings between the board, the department, and key stakeholders. Meetings of the Board of Police Commissioners are open to the public. The state's Ralph M. Brown Act affords the public the opportunity to present at the meetings. Hear the presentations and dialogue in real time, and provide feedback via the public comment period. During these meetings, there is a need for the board to carry out public business expeditiously without delays or disruptions. Members of the public of the audience shall not engage in any conduct which causes an actual disruption of the meeting. Those attending in person are reminded that disruptive behavior will be cause for removal. If you disrupt this meeting, you will be provided with only 1 warning to cease disruptive behavior. If you fail to cease such behavior, you will be removed from the meeting. All attendees must be seated. Failure to follow this rule will result in a warning and/or removal from the meeting. With that, before I move to item number 1, the report of the Chief of Police, I'd just like to say a few words about Sergeant Deng, who was unfortunately killed in a traffic accident several days ago. Sergeant Deng served Los Angeles for more than 25 years. His last act was one of service, putting the safety and well-being of others above all else. I'd like to offer our deepest condolences. He will be missed, and condolences to the member of the public who also lost their life in this tragic incident. And with that, I move to item number 1, report of the Chief of Police, Chief McDonald.
Morning, President Southers, Vice President Shields, Commissioners, Inspector General Barragan, City Attorney De La Guerra, and Mr. Sibley. Today, as always, I'll be discussing significant events from the previous week, providing a crime update, and discussing our personnel strength. And to add on what you said, Mr. President, on the death of Sergeant Deng, what a tremendous loss to our department and our city. Yesterday morning, Sergeant Joe Deng of West Los Angeles Division was killed in a motor vehicle accident on the 405 freeway. Sergeant Ding was a 26-year veteran of the LAPD, most recently assigned to West LA. What we understand at this time is that on June 23rd, about 0200 in the morning, Sergeant Deng, who was on duty, was driving on the 405 freeway when he came upon a serious traffic collision. True to who he was, a caretaker or a public servant, he stopped to help. He activated his amber lights, got out of his vehicle, and moved to render aid, and while doing so, he was struck by another vehicle. First responders with the LA City Fire Department provided immediate medical assistance at the scene, and he was transported to UCLA Hospital. But despite their efforts, Sergeant Deng did not survive. Sergeant Deng spent much of his career quietly serving others, working with some of the most vulnerable members of our community. He was the kind of officer who led by example, who never hesitated to step in when help was needed. The department is staying in close contact with his family and loved ones as we move through the days ahead. Support services are being extended to his coworkers and friends, and we're working to ensure that he's honored in a manner that reflects the depth of his service. We'll share additional information about memorial plans when they become solidified. For now, we continue to stand with his family and the division as they begin to process this loss. An officer-involved shooting in Rampart Division on June 19th, about 4 in the morning. Rampart Patrol Division uniformed officers responded to multiple radio calls of a burglary in progress at 528 North Alexandria Avenue. The comments of the calls indicated that the suspect, later identified as Victor Manuel Carrillo, was attempting to gain access into apartments. The officers observed Carrillo at a second-floor entrance to the apartment complex. Carrillo threw lumber, ceramic pots, and other objects at the officers while armed with a knife, resulting in the discharge of less lethal munitions. Carrillo fled and forced entry into an occupied second-floor apartment through a window. The officers forced entry into the apartment and were confronted by Carrillo, who was armed with a knife and metal chair, resulting in an officer-involved shooting and the discharge of additional less lethal munitions. Carrillo was struck by gunfire and taken into custody without further incident. Officers rendered aid until the arrival of Los Angeles Fire Department personnel, who pronounced Carrillo deceased. A knife, metal chair, and lumber were recovered at the scene and booked as evidence. One officer experienced pain in his left leg after being struck by lumber. However, he declined medical treatment. 2 community members suffered minor injuries during a struggle with Carrillo as he attempted to enter their apartment. One of the community members was treated by LAFD personnel. The other declined treatment. Force Investigation Division investigators respond to the scene and are investigating this incident. Year to date, we've had 20 officer-involved shootings compared to 16 at this time last year. During the past week, the city experienced continued protest related to the ICE activity. These protests remain mostly peaceful, and we appreciate the public's cooperation throughout. I want to reiterate, as a department, we respect everyone's right to peacefully assemble and express their views. Our role is to protect that right while ensuring the safety of the public, our communities, and our officers. While recent protests remain calm, I want to provide an update related to earlier events in which officers were required to intervene due to unlawful activity during protests. As of today, 52 officers have sustained injuries that required medical treatment. Of those, 12 officers remain at home on leave as they recover from those injuries that they sustained during those earlier incidents. We remain actively engaged in monitoring upcoming events and continue to work with community partners to support peaceful expression and maintain public safety. On the crime front, for the week ending June 21st, for the 4-week period, the department observed a continued reduction in property crimes, which dropped by 13% compared to the previous 4-week period. This significant increase in property crime helped drive an overall 8.6% decline in combined Part 1 persons and property crimes citywide, or a reduction of 710 total incidents. However, during the same period, we did see a 7.4% increase in persons crimes. While the rise in violent crime remains a concern, the broader downward trend in total reported crime is encouraging and continues to guide our deployment and prevention strategies. Looking specifically at homicides year to date, we're seeing a 27.7% decrease citywide compared to this time in 2024, with 41 fewer victims. In terms of shooting victims year to date, we've seen a 12% reduction, with 61 fewer crimes compared to 2024. Aggravated assaults were up 7.7% over the 4 weeks. Robberies increased slightly by 2.5%. And in contrast, burglaries showed a decline. Overall burglaries were down over 14%. Residential burglaries dropped over 12%. And non-residential burglaries decreased by just under 15%. Finally, motor vehicle thefts declined by 11.7% over the 4-week period, which is about 178 fewer reported incidents compared to the previous 4 weeks. On the personnel front, as of June 23rd, our sworn personnel strength is 8,739. Our civilian professional staffing is 2,650, and we have 355 reserve officers. That completes my report to the commission this morning, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. The only question I have is I'd like to know, are we still deployed in the Palisades for traffic control?
We are deployed in the Palisades, however, not for traffic control. For crime suppression, we have 1 sergeant and 10 officers deployed there. CHP is still deployed there, and a heightened state of awareness and a lack of crime activity, thankfully. So we're comfortable that we're doing the right thing. We downsized significantly from what had been our posture for the previous 6 months.
Okay, thank you. I'll defer to my fellow commissioners for questions or comments. Vice President Shields.
Thank you, Chief, for the report. And I would say this is a very sad time for the department. With regards to the death of Sergeant Dang, my deepest condolences to the family, friends, and colleagues, particularly those at the West LA Division and also the Mental Evaluations Unit, where he spent nearly 17 years serving the people there. And I think, Sergeant Dang represents the best of LAPD, and he spent his final moments honoring the badge that he wore by protecting and serving others. And I hope any folks within the department or family friends who need additional support seek it out. So thank you, Chief. And it's good to hear that the ongoing protests have been mostly peaceful. One question I have about the ongoing enforcement efforts, has there been any reports to the department of individuals impersonating officers or trying to do copycat type abductions or anything like that? And how is the department prepared to address any of those types of concerns?
Yeah, certainly we have a heightened state of vigilance because anecdotally we've heard the same thing that potentially is going on. We're alert to that. We're listening for that. We haven't been able to substantiate any of that activity in the city.
Thank you, Chief. That's all the questions I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Garcia.
Good morning, Chief. Thank you. First of all, just condolences to Sergeant Dang's family and loved ones, and to all those who were impacted by that incident. I too have the same sort of questions in terms of impersonating, so appreciate the answer. What are the steps we're taking to ensure that that's not happening, and what type of information are we getting out to the community in terms of what they should be doing if they're unsure of who's either approaching them or knocking on their door or otherwise seeking to try to detain them?
Yeah, thank you. Good question. Difficult answer. On that front, it's our goal to be able to protect everybody in our community. So if somebody is unsure that the people they're dealing with are actually agents of the federal government, call 911. We will respond as we do to every call for help from the community and try and as best we can ascertain who's there, what their purpose is. And although we can't intervene or we don't intervene in any kind of civil immigration enforcement, hopefully we can be in a position where we can make sure that they are who they say they are. Yeah.
Thank you. Commissioner Sanchez-Gordon.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Chief, and I also extend my deepest condolences to the family of Sergeant Dang.
Thank you.
It was a tragic day yesterday, very sad. And I also extend my condolences to his family and all the colleagues of LAPD.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Just to follow up on the two questions that my colleagues referred to regarding impersonating officers, et cetera. I think we're all familiar with what we are referring to. I'd like to know if the LAPD officers have any guidelines, have been in any way spoken to regarding what is happening in our community regarding these masked men, for the most part, armed, masked men in unmarked cars. Guidelines as to what they should or should not do if they're not sure that these are federal officers.
It's unprecedented territory, to be very honest.
Yes.
So our officers, a lot of conversation around.
Sir, would you please allow the chief to respond to the comment from the commissioner? Thank you. Sorry, Chief.
As I mentioned, unprecedented circumstances that they're facing out there. There's been a lot of conversation around it, a lot of concern for blue on blue interactions, a lot of concern about community perceptions that the people who are out there are not who they purport to be. And as was asked about earlier, certainly expresses that concern. Generally, officers will respond to a call like this. If they see an incident, they'll get a supervisor out there. And the supervisor's role will be to try and make sure that the law enforcement agency or agencies that are represented there are actually who they say they are, and that they're taking whatever enforcement action they're taking. Our ability to be able to intercede in that is very, very limited.
So just to follow up on that, Chief, are you saying that in that situation, I'm going to refer to the situation at Dodger Stadium. If someone, a citizen, is being detained, arrested, in that scenario and asks for the LAPD assistance because nobody knows who these people are, what is the obligation, the duty? Is there any guideline that the LAPD officer present at the scene has when a citizen asks for help?
Yeah, I just mentioned that the guidelines are for the officers to respond, try and maintain the peace, get a supervisor out there, and then they ascertain are they an official law enforcement agency, and if they are, then they go about their duties. If there's a complaint, that would be registered then with the agency.
Thank you.
Chief, just one additional question. There have been reports that tow trucks are staging to remove ICE vehicles that are staging for raids as they are illegally parked in the street before they go to take someone into custody. Have we responded to any calls like that? And if we got a call like that, what would our actions be where tow trucks are removing cars that are double parked, flashes going, and ICE agents get out and leave them in the street?
Yeah, that would, if they're in the street, that would be a police agency who would be the one charged with that. That's not happening. I haven't heard any reports of that, and that's the first. Yeah.
I do have another question.
Thank you. Commissioner Sanchez-Gordon, go ahead.
Another question, Chief. I know that there was an alert after the bombing in Iraq from the U.S. government that there was going to be more surveillance. And please, correct me if I'm not correct, but that there was an order for more surveillance or assistance at our local churches, mosques,
Right.
et cetera. With everything else that is happening in our community, with ICE, other federal agents, especially these people that cannot be identified, is our department also deploying further assistance in our community to help the community with this situation?
Yes. When an event like that happens anywhere in the world, anything that happens anywhere in the world generally there's some impact felt here in Los Angeles. We try and identify what the impacts may be, contact the affected community, and then in the case that you mentioned, we will do extra patrol. We will do the things we often do, working with the community to provide a sense of comfort that we're there for them and that we're doing everything we can to be able to address their anxieties and concerns. And so we did that on the recent bombing, and we continue to work closely with them. We have people who are assigned liaison responsibilities with the various communities throughout the city, and they're in close contact with the community all the time. And so we believe, our finger on the pulse for all of our communities throughout the city. And when there's a need, we try and step up and meet that. Certainly, our resources are stretched, have been stretched more in the last 6 months than probably in a long time. We're down about 1,400 officers. So, yeah, certainly there's an impact anytime, the needs increase. But we do the very best we can.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And thank you for the update on the 52 officers that were injured and the 12 that are at home. I hope for speedy recovery for them.
Thank you.
We'll now move on to agenda item number 2, public comment. Madam Secretary, please identify the first speaker.
First, we have Pamela Webb.
Oh, good morning. I just want to say that my son was murdered on July the 6th of 2024, and we've been trying to be in contact with the police to find out what was going on, and the police was not giving us any kind of response. They wouldn't. We just got the first call from the liaison telling us the situation. And after that, we've been trying to contact the police. We tried to get his property. I said, well, he was in his car. He had his car keys, his cell phone, his wallet. Where all is his property at? And they wouldn't give us no response. Then I finally talked to a detective Torres, and he said that they was holding his property until the investigation was over. But basically, every time we tried to contact the police, we was getting nothing. Unanswered calls, I was leaving messages and wasn't getting nothing. And then until this year, it was, I think, March. Me and my daughter, we tried to get a lawyer to find out what was going on because they told us that he died in police custody. So we assuming that it had something to do with the police. And so we got the lawyer and then found out that the police said he was already dead when they got there, and then they released their video because we knew it was video cameras in the area, and they released the video, and we seen my son being murdered right on the video, and to me and to us, he was like helpless. The man was just strangling him, and he beating on the ground for his life, and the man was just strangling him. He was outside. I don't know what the police said. He broke in somebody's house. He wasn't a thief to break in somebody's house. So I don't know the situation with that because they haven't told us anything. But all I know is I seen like he was helpless to me, and the man was on top of him, just choking him. It's a video of it. And he banging on the ground for his life. And then they said it was justifiable homicide. And I didn't see how it was justified because it seemed like my son was defenseless. He was just down there and being strangled to death in front of the camera. So that's all I'm saying. Just that the police did not tell us anything. They just call us every once in a blue moon. They call us to tell they were releasing the video. Then I got a message from them saying that they having this hearing today. But my daughters, they've been coming to the hearing. But I recently moved to another state. I'm living in Las Vegas, Nevada, and plus I work basically every day, so I don't have time to keep trying to beat the door down and get results. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll have somebody meet you in the back there and provide you some explanation and assistance.
Yeah, because they said that, on the camera, you can see the man strangling him. It's plain as day, but the DA won't press charges against the guy. I don't understand.
Okay. Up next, we have Katrina Thomas.
Oh, okay.
I haven't been asleep. I came straight from work to come here to from what I assume what was placed in my mother's voicemail was that you guys, not even you guys, somebody was going to present my brother's case. And that's what we were told that you guys are going to do here. But apparently the case is going to be in a secluded message without us. So what was the point? Why you guys didn't have this? I haven't been asleep. We just drove so far to tell us you guys having a secret meeting that you guys could have had the first time I was here, the second time I was here. I'm here again. The police commission's job is what? To make the LAPD do what they're supposed to do, right? Who builds who the information to who to do what they need to do? Who reaches out to who to tell? We should not have to chase for a DA's name, for a main detective's name. We don't know anything. We should not have to. Those are the simple things. Okay, this detective is handling your case. This is the DA. But and then the first call, the detective Leon, whoever spoke with us, went in a training. Now he's retiring. Now, so who's working? It's been a year. It's been a year. You guys may be different departments, but you guys are all one team. Be righteous. To protect and to serve who? What? Who? Who are we protecting? Who are we serving? Who? I don't understand. We're here. What was the point of you? What was the point of you telling us you guys are having a closed meeting? I haven't been to sleep. I have to work tonight. What was the point of you telling us you could have said we're having a meeting alone? Like, that was dumb. You're not giving us information. You're just telling us shut up. My brother was murdered. You're the police. You saw it. He was murdered. Quit telling us to figure it out on our own. That's stupid. That's your job. Not to just make sure he's okay, but to protect and serve. Because he's not okay. He's dead. He's dead. And I don't care how high he was. High doesn't mean you're supposed to die from strangulation. Because it wasn't an overdose, which you guys trying to make it seem like it is. You saw the video the day it happened. Somebody saw it the day it happened, and you knew it was strangulation. Because when we saw it, we knew it was strangulation. I never for 1 second believed it was an overdose. Protect and serve, detect, investigate. I'm sure there's more investigators than the DA. Who's helping who? What are the different departments? For what? I bet you all y'all paychecks come from the same bank. Why did y'all waste our time? I'm tired. I haven't been asleep. Why did you waste our time? That's crazy. I bet you your check is bigger than mine. I bet you it cost money to get here. Oil changes, tires. I don't live around the corner, up the street. Why are y'all playing with us? Who do you fear? Who do y'all fear? So that's where it's at. That's where it's at. It's crazy because before my brother died, 10 years ago, I had a vision of a death in a dark alley. It's funny that he died in the back and it looks like an alley. But it's crazy because around that same time.
Ma'am.
Ezekiel,
Ma'am, please speak. This officer is going to speak to you in the rear. Please.
And not like throwing up to come here for nothing. I thought I was going to hear some information about my brother.
Officer, if you would, and explain the procedure for closed session. Thank you. Madam Secretary. Madam Secretary, please call the next speaker.
We have Danny Smith on Zoom.
All items.
Okay, 3 minutes.
Good morning, Commissioners. Last month, during National Police Week in Washington, D.C., officers from around the world gathered to honor those who gave their lives in service. It was a time for reverence and professionalism. The LAPD sent representatives, including Officer and League Director Debbie Thomas. Rather than upholding the dignity of the department, she reportedly chose to party, drink excessively, and behave in a way that clearly falls under conduct unbecoming of a police officer. Her actions were public and witnessed by many. Even more disturbing, she was reportedly publicly insubordinate to Newton Area Captain Keith Green and demeaned Newton officers by calling them loser, saying only loser are allowed to work Newton gangs. What makes this worse is that Officer Thomas has since apologized to several people for her behavior, an admission that she knows it was wrong. That acknowledgement alone should trigger accountability. She needs to apologize to the Newton Command and Newton officers. Instead, it appears that because she is a league director, she believes that she's above the rules and protected from consequences. That double standard is unacceptable. Any other officer would likely be facing a personnel complaint, disciplinary action, and removal from a leadership position. There cannot be one standard for the league and another for everyone else. Newton officers deserve better. The LAPD deserves better. And the public deserves leadership that honors the badge, not disgraces it. A personnel complaint needs to be initiated and all witnesses identified and interviewed, starting with department employees John Pinto, Joretta Sanzos, David Abdalian, Yassir Gilani, Keith Green, and everyone else that was present. Everyone is held accountable, or no one is held accountable. We cannot accept double standards. Thank you.
Next, we have Andrew Grabner.
Okay. So, starting off with the chief's report. The chief's report should be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes at every meeting. If the chief's report exceeds 3 minutes, we should match the amount of time the chief takes. Regardless of how long the chief takes to give this report, everyone should be able to speak both in person and on the phone. So, as always, we hear a lot about concerns when LAPD officers are killed, things like that. But you don't show the same concern when community members are killed, often by the police. And yet you don't have any, it's just the person was struck by gunfire, even though you can't even say the officer fired a gun at the person. You can't even say that. You gotta make it sound as though it might not even, it's just a random bullet that just showed up out of nowhere, I guess, or something. I don't know. And as always, we talked about the protests again. The protests were peaceful until the cops showed up and started attacking protesters, firing less lethals. And how many injuries have the police caused towards community. How many community members have been injured by the police during the protests? You don't seem to have an answer for that, I guess. None of you asked, and none of you asked about the journalist, the member of the press who was held all weekend by the LAPD for documenting an ICE raid. None of you had any questions on that whatsoever. No charges were filed against this member of the press, of course. No questions from any of you about it. Okay, so we have the consent agenda. We have a donation for a swim party, something like that looks like for the cadets, I think. So the ones where you indoctrinate teenagers while sexually assaulting into being police officers while sexually assaulting them. We have a 8,500. Oh, we have multiple donations for the West Valley area. No on those. We have $500 and $725 for the Security Services Division to do that desert run in the desert. Fuck the Security Services Division. They're the ones who attack people who want to just address their government officials over at City Hall. We have donations for multiple barbecue griddles. I don't know. The vacation for the police chief. At least he barely got this approved before he goes on his vacation, I guess, later today. We have multiple stuff. We have a Pride presentation on Pride. You know, the department who regularly attacks members of the LGBTQ community. So, yeah. You don't give a shit about the LGBTQ community, so don't pretend that you do.
Next, we have Michael Clark.
Hi, Board. On the Anthony Soul case, what the family, I think, is looking for is just to get some real information, not from the officer who's the liaison, but either the lead investigator and or having a simple 20-minute, 30-minute meeting with the DA's office. I understand it's been ruled as justifiable homicide, and I think the DA's rejected the case so far. We want to discuss the details, sit down and talk about a little bit of the evidence and how they came to that determination. When you look at that video, this isn't an in-custody death. I know you guys are meeting on that, but the cops did what they were supposed to do when they showed up. You can see clearly in the video, this is about the guy who chased down a guy who was running away. He wasn't running to anybody. This guy isn't a robber. This is a high-quality individual that I've been friends with for 15 years. He wasn't robbing anybody. There was misunderstanding, and he was running away from the guy. He wasn't a threat to anybody at the time, and it's on video. It's like a darn movie that you can sit there and look at it and going, oh, my God, I can't believe we're watching, a murder. So I think what we're requesting, to the extent that we could speak with your department and lead investigator and or get us to the DA's office to simply have a meeting and say, how did you come to this conclusion? And we're not talking about hours of meeting. We need 20 minutes from somebody. I've made probably 25 phone calls trying to get to a DA to say, hey, can the family come and meet? And can we see what's going on with this thing? Impossible to get through anybody. So I'm coming here today requesting for a meeting with the investigator or and primarily the DA's office. I think if you can help us with that, we would much appreciate it.
If you would, if you could meet with the sergeant in the back there, he'll take care of you.
Yeah, he said it, and maybe he can get something like that done, and maybe he can't. Anything that you can put some will in and get a nice, calm, meeting. And his sister is rightfully very worked up, but we just want to get some real evidentiary information if we can.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Next on Zoom, we have Steve Riley.
Good morning.
Good morning. What items would you like to speak on?
All items, please.
Okay, 3 minutes.
First, I'd like to ask for a moment of silent prayer for Sergeant Dang and the unknown civilian that lost their life. Thank you. I knew Officer Dang as a young officer there in Central Division working downtown, and later he worked at Mental Evaluation Unit. And he had a great heart. He had the enthusiasm to protect and serve. His final act, as was commented on, was in service to protect others. He represents the best of LAPD. He's not the only one that has that type of heart. There are many officers that serve on a daily basis, unknown to the public, that serve with the same heart to protect and serve. And I ask that the public remember that as they support their local officers. Communication is a very important thing. And I'm glad to be able to speak today, but there have been weeks past where people calling in on Zoom have not been allowed to speak. So thank you, President Suthers, for allowing this to happen. The alternating in-person Zoom, I think, is the way to go. There are people who, for different reasons, medical reasons, health reasons, geographic reasons, cannot be there in person. It's a difficult place to get to police headquarters on Tuesday at 9:30. Many people are working, going to school, conducting their lives. I ask again, as many have asked, that you sometimes have the meetings in person, but beyond that, have them in the evening where there can be more participation of the public who you serve. Today, there's going to be a Pride presentation. I presented a letter that's been posted. Thank you for posting it. I encourage everyone to read that letter and letters of the past weeks where Voices for LAPD has also addressed some very important issues. Instead of having a presentation on so-called pride, I'd rather hear from the federal agencies that are working in Los Angeles. They can answer, maybe as inviting them as guests and see if they would accept the invitation and see how perhaps we can get some questions answered. The commissioner who described ICE federal agents as armed, masked men in unmarked cars, you're making them sound nefarious, and they're not. They're trying to do their job. And their job is to remove the criminal element that is illegal in the city of Los Angeles, which helps all communities. So let's not put out a false narrative there, making it sound like they're kidnapping people off the street, committing crimes. If LAPD had a better relationship with ICE, perhaps we can have a better, safer city. God bless the LAPD. God save Los Angeles. Thank you.
Next, we have Audit LA.
Ma'am, we have a mic. He's going to bring it to you.
Oh my God, they listened to me last week. Oh my God. Too freaking funny.
Okay, can you hear me? It's really hard to hear a family, going through that. And I can't imagine as a mother seeing your son on a video, having his life choked out of him on the ground, begging for help. And like you said, I know it wasn't the police, it was somebody else, but I just can't imagine. I'm trying to put myself in her shoes. And I don't want to put myself in her shoes because it's just too much. And begging for help. So I hope you do help her. I don't know why, if somebody's running away, why the DA wouldn't do something. But then I'm thinking of another case where, I'm always here to talk about the abuses of Scientology and how I want them off your CPAP because of over-influence. So this is a mother who watched her son lose his life, and the DA is, ruled what he is, can't get any access to him. But Scientology can call, pester the city attorney and the DA until they get somebody, I think he's over there, would have been at most infractions, just, stupid little petty stuff during protests. I don't agree with what he did because I think you shouldn't do anything to bring any attention to yourself, but at most infractions. But now, because of Scientology's influence, they sit on CPABs and they have such a direct contact and they're so ingrained, it's now wobbled up to a bunch of felonies and hate crimes. Like moving a sign and removing a ornament that was ordered removed by the city is a hate crime. I don't know whose reality. So. So I think it's just really sad that this mother has to come and beg a chief in person for access to be able to find out why her son isn't getting any justice. But Scientology can just, put pressure and, on something and try to turn this person into, and I'm not a fan, I'll be honest, I'm not a fan, of certain things, but he's not a felon, okay? He's not a felon. He's just not. And and for them to be able to just pick up the phone and think that they can get what they want when they want it is wrong. And nobody should have to sit there and fight for their freedom because Scientology doesn't want to deal with they're trying to do that, they harassed us at the protests and stuff and all kinds of stuff, but it's enough that I am begging you to remove them from CPABs and remove their influence of LAPD. Period. I can't ask you anymore, and that's why I'm here, sir, and I'm asking you, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mona M.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Yes. What items would you like to speak on?
All items, please.
Okay, 3 minutes.
And I promise we didn't correlate this. Thank you for the opportunity to comment today. It was great to be there in person last week. I've been asking about Scientology having a seat on the CPAB for quite a while now, but I'm now actually rethinking my comments, only because I feel in fear there might be some damage coming up from that. And I'm concerned for Janet Whelan's welfare. No one has seen or heard from her since we have been making these comments. And I always mention that I'm not here to protest the belief in a religion, but to protest their abusive practices. One such abusive practice is human trafficking. Per the California definition of human trafficking, their practice of moving people around to move that a little bit more, people that are religious volunteers working 70 to 80 hours a week for $47 a week stipend, people that are either minors or elderly for the sake of not having their abuses discovered. It's obviously a benefit to the organization. That's human trafficking. Human trafficking is also known as trafficking in persons or for modern day slavery. It's a crime that involves compelling or coercing a person to provide labor or services or to engage in sex acts. The coercion can be subtle or overt, physical or psychological, and may involve the use of violence, threats, lies, or debt bondage. Bingo, 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 check mark. That's everything that happens in Scientology. And poor Janet is a piece of that. We're worried about the collateral damage. We're worried about her welfare. And we would ask that that all of this is taken in consideration on the CPABs. Thank you, and I yield back my time.
Next, we have Mr. Herb.
I get called by my name, but the card didn't say that, lady. Fine. Prior restraint, right? To scare me. I ain't afraid of shit no more. Well, what about this unintentional war brought by the Jujus that betrayed Donald Trump regarding Israel? What about the cult of Scientology? Fucking shut up and let me get my 30 seconds of peace, bro. That's the reason why that family came down here. Let's talk about that. Why can't the fucking DA help these people out and get them what they need so they can go back and have a peace of mind before they come back to find out the fucking lies? Is that what you want to hear, bro? Is that what you want to hear?
That's off topic too.
That has to do with
No.
the strangling, motherfucker.
Not at all.
Strangling. Fuck you. Look at number I, bitch. I. Travel authority. I know where Jimmy's going. He's going to go visit the U.S. Attorney General and rat you motherfuckers out. The same way I've been ratting you out to the FBI, you little bitch. 42 U.S.C. 1983. And the Bain Act. Don't make threats to me, you little bitch. 52.1. I have a right to be heard, regardless of my disability or my mental health or my fucking right of free speech, bitch. Now you know where I come from, nigga.
You're off topic.
So, again, look at this shit. What about Sergeant Dang? Is that off topic, motherfucker? Is that off topic, motherfucker? Answer the question, either yes or no. I'm here to support the United States Attorney General. Am I off fucking topic, bitch?
Yes.
Good.
Right.
Glad you said that, bitch.
Sir, the city attorney's ruled you're off topic. Sir, get back on topic. I will terminate your public comment.
ICD, right? What is an ICD? What is the acronym for that? ICD. Make MOU. Understand. Officer involved shooting. Officer involved strangling. What is the OIS, motherfuckers? What is it? What about the so-called NTUD? What about NWA, for the record? You understand that, fool? I'll make you understand MOU. I'll make you understand that unintentional discharge of shooting fucking protesters that are what? The press is constitutionally protected? No. They have a label, press. Press 1, press 2. You got it now, fool? So when you interrupt my public comment, just remember, more Trump, ice, ice, ice. Trump saved your black ass in the LAPD from the rioters, you dumb bitch.
Next, we have defend the LAPD.
Good morning.
Good morning. What items would you like to speak?
All items, please.
Okay, 3 minutes.
Thank you. Just days ago, LAPD's G&D unit responded to assist another police agency serving a warrant on a murder suspect in the Hollenbeck division. It had nothing to do with immigration enforcement, yet a hostile crowd formed requiring additional units just to safely execute the warrant. This isn't an isolated incident. It's happening more and more. People are empowered to challenge law enforcement and not cooperate. It's dangerous. Why? Because city council members, the mayor, much of the media, and now it sounds like some of you commissioners continue pushing a dangerous and dishonest narrative, falsely claiming that masked men in unmarked cars are snatching people off the streets. Let's be very clear. Those are federal immigration officers. They are not hiding it, and they are not impersonating officers. They are operating fully within their legal authority to detain individuals in violation of federal law. They are allowed to drive unmarked cars, wear masks, and vest with only the words police or border patrol on them. In fact, Mexico and many other countries just south of us have state police units who operate in the same way due to officer safety concerns. Stop saying no one knows who they are. It's known they are federal officers. Some people just don't like immigration enforcement. Many in the immigrant community have been misinformed into believing that ICE or Border Patrol agents must present a judicial warrant in order to detain someone, and that's false. Immigration enforcement is a civil process, not a criminal one. ICE officers are not required to obtain a judge-signed warrant to detain someone suspected of being lawfully present. Administrative warrants are lawful under federal law. Likewise, Miranda rights and criminal due process do not apply in civil immigration cases. These protections are specific to criminal charges, and this confusion is fueling unnecessary fear and obstruction. If the city attorney and mayor won't explain it to them, the public, then LAPD should. If the public interferes with any law enforcement activity, they can and should be arrested. If they resist or cause chaos, officers, whether federal or local, are allowed to use force. And if federal agents are attacked or threatened, LAPD has a duty to respond and restore order. We're now seeing LAPD officers being followed, blocked on freeways, or harassed simply for driving unmarked cars because people assume they're ICE. This is a major officer safety threat. Meanwhile, council members like Ulysses Hernandez are trying to strip LAPD of even more non-lethal tools after already doing so in 2020. LAPD was left without key crowd control options that other agencies still use. And that needs to change. I do, however, want to commend Raul Jovel for requesting the gas, and Chief, that you approved it. Excellent call. LAPD doesn't need fewer tools, and the public needs to be properly informed, if anything, for LAPD officer safety. Thank you.
Next, we have sidewalk.
Sidewalks here.
you're gonna find out about me. Goofy. We're bombing Iran, not Iraq. All right, get that straight. So I'm super glad that you're going after Defender Vance. He's going after those Scientologists. Super glad you got a ankle monitor on him. You know who else went off after Defender Vance? Officer Torres, the person of this family that was murdered. Same officer went after Defender Vance, called his probation officer in West Virginia, lied after false claims of conspiracy to possess tear gas, lies by Officer Rand in the Hollywood division, claiming that he unlawfully possessed tear gas. Tear gas and pepper spray are allowed until it is deemed that it's an unlawful protest. That's when it becomes illegal. Maybe Officer Rand in Hollywood division could figure that the fuck out. He's kind of a fucking idiot, if you ask me. How many of you guys have been safe pointed by Scientology? Huh? Do you know how it works? They give a little money. They give you $200. Then they give you another $250. Strike Against Drugs. You guys are working with Strike Against Drugs. David, the Scientologist. It's just like the DARE program. It's easy to safe point people, though. You just give them donations. You tell them how great they are. That's how Scientology works. That's how OSA works. Defender Vance is being charged with hate crimes for saying Scientology is a cult we could help. That's considered a fucking hate crime in LA. Amazing, huh? A red ornament falls off of a wreath that was illegally placed on a tree, and it breaks, a 10-cent ornament. He gets charged with a felony. In what fucking world? In what fucking world? How much money is Scientology paying you? I know they've given $10,000 to the Hollywood division at their Christmas party numerous times. They got all the COVID cleanup sanitation for all 85 precincts of the LAPD. What else has Scientology paid you guys off on? Don't allow to be safe pointed. Donations. Love bombing. Fuck yourselves.
Alexi Balara.
Good morning. I would like to begin with my sincerest condolences for the loss of Sergeant Dang. I wish his family and loved ones peace. My name is Alexi, and I'm a social worker who has been serving as a medic and mental health crisis responder during the recent protests. I have been showing up because I care deeply for this community, for our community, and because I believe that offering care in moments of crisis is not just necessary, but is our duty as human beings. And for that, I've been treated like a threat. Medics like me, clearly marked, often retreating or actively providing aid, have been shot with less lethal rounds. One of us was hit in the head with a flashbang grenade, while another was shot 3 separate times. Some are still out of work from that. At one protest, I had CS gas canisters thrown directly at my feet while I was visibly marked as a medic. I wasn't involved in any confrontation. I was standing with my kit, trying to assess someone for injuries. The gas overwhelmed my lungs, blurred my vision, and made it nearly impossible to continue rendering aid. That moment wasn't just dangerous, it was illegal. The use of CS gas in this way, especially against medical personnel, violates the Geneva Conventions. It's banned in warfare. And yet, in my home city of Los Angeles, it's being used against civilians in a public street without any warning or justification. These are not isolated mistakes. It's a pattern, and it's getting worse. Providing first aid or mental health support has become something to punish, the act of care itself is being criminalized. This should concern everyone in this room. When violence becomes so normalized that medical workers are seen as targets, we've lost sight of what public safety means. Care is not a crime. Mental health support is not a disruption. And those of us trying to reduce harm are not the ones escalating the situation. You may not agree with why we're out there, but I hope we can agree on this. No one should be shot or arrested for helping someone in pain. No one should be punished for showing up with compassion. So I'm asking this commission to act, demand a full accounting and review of LAPD's use of force incidents involving clearly identified medics, crisis responders, and reporters. I'm also urging this commission to formally call for a ban on the use of any chemical agents against the public. These weapons are dangerous, indiscriminate, and violate the rights and safety of civilians. That is the bare minimum. Accountability starts with transparency, and safety starts with restraint. I yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Frances.
Morning. Good morning, Francis. Public comment. I had prepared comments that cannot continue with after the mother and sister's comments on the unbalanced systematic statutory leverages like qualified immunity that make such overreach such as this one possible and likely and routine. To further the cause of those who've already given such powerful and eloquent comment, I yield the full remainder of my time to a full minute of silent reflection, or how much I can get of the 2 minutes and 30 seconds I have, as I blather along uselessly to compete with that, which still has left me shaken. Should leave us all shaken. So I don't want to forget it. I don't think any of us should forget that moment. And I'm going to remain in however much time I have for a moment of silence for all those in this sort of pointless war on each other. Thank you. Thank you. I yield.
Thank you.
Next, we have Glenn.
First, I also want to extend my condolences to Sergeant Deng's family as someone who's had an accident on the 405 in those circumstances. It's terrifying, whether it's in the middle of rush hour or at 2 a.m., and that's a sincere condolence. And I feel for you guys in the commission, because if I had to listen to this every single week, I might look down as well. But I think it's completely disrespectful that some of you are doing that when people are up here, no matter how insane they might be. I can argue that the best of America and the worst of America happens in this 45 minutes. And I think it's ridiculous, even if somebody you disagree with, that you don't give them the full focus of their attention. Sir, I'm talking to you, Mr. Garcia. I'm not being rude. I asked you to just talk to people. This is what you're here for, is to hear public comment. And not everyone here is insane. And I don't care if you disagree with me. I'm fine with whatever you do. But you don't even know what I'm saying yet, and you still don't have the respect to look at me. I didn't even come here to say that. But every single time, my 2 times, last week was my first time on Zoom, and I listened to this. And I commented, prove me wrong. And I came here originally to speak about, I want you guys to prove me wrong, though, which is the Australian reporter who was shot with a rubber bullet on point blank zone. And because you guys have made me into an activist, in the last 3 weeks, you have made me into an activist by the actions of what the LAPD has done, let alone ICE, and we'll get to that in a second. I'm getting into what POBRA is. I understand what you can or can't do, but I also know you could publicly tell everybody that the officer who is in investigation that you will take 6 months to a year to figure out what happened could be publicly reassigned. So we know that they're not facing the public and be on administrative leave. And that is not prohibited by anything that I've researched and asked about 10 other lawyers about. So that would be something you could do to just reestablish public trust. And Chief McDonald, last week, I remember you going through, and some of the commissioners here today also spoke about what your duty is to, when things come out with ICE, when there are these raids, when it's protecting property. I understand that. I realize that job is difficult. But the reason why there's no trust is there's also a gaslighting going on. I'm going to give you a thing that yesterday, if this meeting happened, you couldn't tell me. I couldn't even bring up. I live in Playa Vista. You guys can get familiar with my face. I'm not even hiding. My name's Glenn. I'll tell you where I live. I'm not hiding. Get used to my face. Because my face is here because I'm a white male that is not a victim of any of these things that are going on. And somebody needs to speak up for these people across this city and across this country. Yesterday in Playa Vista, in one of the now, we all know what a Home Depot raid looks like. We saw LAPD miraculously arrive at the same time that that ICE was going after that Home Depot and taking away the guy I've met for 5 years and eat tacos from his stand every single day. And I know I'm running out of time, but for everyone saying they're all criminals, Cato Institute released a study 3 days ago. 93% of the people that ICE is going after, that LAPD is trying to help facilitate, have no violent arrests, and 65% of them have had 0 criminal arrests whatsoever. So the whole thing that they're all felons is ridiculous. You guys better get your shit together.
Thank you.
Jonathan Foster.
Jonathan Foster. Dang, man. I heard that Shu Dang was quite a funny guy. Well, it cost $32 million of the LAPD. This is why I tried to run for president. I was a P600220068. In 2016, I ran against Donald John Trump because he's stupid. I'm 100 times smarter than Dum Dum is. So, but I didn't win. So this is what we got. This morning, there was a blue jay out front. It was swooping down and ran 2 crows out of here. The blue jay lives in the trees out front. So obviously I've got a bunch of things to say, right? So I was going to say something I said over a year ago, as that coming down here is just a waste of time. What I say only goes to you. It does not go to 8,000 officers that do the job. And then if they listened to what I said, would they act upon it? And they're probably not getting into something and going, oh, well, Jonathan, that guy, I better do what he said. They're not going to do that, right? So I wasted 6 years of Tuesdays coming down here. It's been a waste of my life to come down here because the people that really need to hear what is said on this microphone never hears it. The city charter doesn't change. Qualified immunity doesn't change. So I've wasted my life coming down here. My dad and my mother wasted their life serving this family, 76 nonstop consecutive years of service to the Army and the VA, and it was a waste because this guy can just choke somebody Waukesha Wilson can die in custody death. They can just gun down Yang Yang, Wilver Blanco, you name it. I'm sorry that Dang died. I'm sorry that the guy in a Rancho or a Huntington Park got shot. Stuff like this. I mean, I don't want to hear anybody, but I've wasted my life down here thinking. I am under an impression that if I come down and put my heart into this, that I could affect a change. And I have found out that I am a lie. No one listens to, that what I have said is taken as lies. Nobody listens to what I said. Every effort that I've put in has been a waste. Nobody cares about me. No, all the good things that I've said, no one acts upon. Nothing changes. The people with millions of dollars who are lawyers don't change the city charter. So everything I've said, I mean, I should just go jump off the 6th Street Bridge because nobody cares about what I said. My effort is not acted upon. Nobody cares about any good thing that I said that would change anything, that would make it.
Christina Flores.
Good morning, Commissioners and Chief McDonald. My name is Christina Flores, Senior Legislative Deputy to Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez. Councilwoman Rodriguez submitted a letter to the Commission yesterday highlighting her concerns about the disturbing and unprecedented attacks by federal immigration authorities, particularly those who operate in plain clothes, wear a mask, and drive unmarked vehicles. The Councilwoman is urging the Board of Police Commissioners, as the policy-making body of the Los Angeles Police Department, to take immediate action and ask the Chief of Police to develop protocols ensuring officers are instructed how to determine whether federal operations are in violation of legal requirements and how to request valid federal identification from ICE agents. Furthermore, the Councilwoman is requesting that the department equitably pre-deploy LAPD resources to protect residents in high-profile targeted neighborhoods that are facing these attacks. Thank you so much for your consideration.
Thank you.
Next, we have Quinn.
So speaking of LAPD and ICE, you have a whole report today on various technologies that you use to gauge their efficacy and allow this supposed regulatory body to approve or disapprove. It's no shock that this is rife with contradictions and lies. But even if we were to use your narrative from your report, your own shit exposes how you use these technologies to hunt, track, and surveil people within a pipeline to deportation. Let's take your automatic license plate readers, for example, which we've already proven have been used to facilitate mass deportations. But in your own report, you say that LAPD has a relationship with Flock Safety Vigilant Solutions and Axon to gather and collect data tracking people's locations and movements. Some stats for you. LAPD detected over 1,132,441,520 license plates in 2024 alone, of which 301,655 resulted in hits, wanted vehicles, stolen cars, cars of undocumented folks, or other folks that you deem criminal. This means that 1,132,139,865 ALPR reads were just tracking completely unrelated vehicles. No one who had done a crime. In LA, there's roughly 2.5 million registered vehicles, which means that that's over 450 hits per vehicle per year. That means that more than once a day, LAPD, ICE, and DHS have hits for every vehicle in Los Angeles, no matter what crimes they've committed. And then you have a whole section on efficacy. And after all of those stats, this body reviewed that there were, quote, no concerns identified. The 159,323 ALPR queries conducted by LAPD in 2024 exemplify real-time license plate scanning and retroactive data queries and how they work hand in hand to enable both proactive and retroactive tracking and targeting. The inquiries were not limited to LAPD, but they can be conducted by a wide array of partner agencies, further expanding the city's information sharing environment. And together, these practices confirm that the layered and distributed nature of the stalker state, where data is constantly collected, queried, and weaponized across agencies to criminalize people preemptively. And beyond that, a family came in today, Anthony Sowell's family, and they were here again fighting for their brother. And you want to continue to have closed meetings. You want to continue to hide the fact that your negligence and your disregard for his life were so apparent. But Anthony was someone's son, someone's brother, someone's sibling, and your oversight here is just another way for you to watch your pigs to facilitate murder. Fuck you. I yield the rest of my time.
Grace.
What you're discussing today is not just a report, it is a roadmap of repression. It is a window into the digital carceral state that the LAPD is engineering with your permission. This so-called annual technology report is not transparency, it's state theater, a shallow attempt to appear honest, while LAPD continues building a dragon of mass surveillance, data extraction, and predictive policing. This is about making suspicion scalable and criminalization frictionless. Let's talk about what's really happening. Like Quinn already said, in 2024 alone, LAPD scanned over 1 billion license plates, more than 1 billion images of movement, location, and proximity. And only 301,000 of those were what you call, quote unquote, hits, meaning 99.97% of that data was just tracking everyday people, like they already said, doing nothing but driving. That is mass surveillance. And what you're greenlighting is a totalizing system, ALPR for mass movement tracking, Wooster and Scope now for social and behavioral surveillance, Penlink for scraping anonymized online data, drones for aerial spying, and peregrine technologies, which you don't even include in this report, for live pattern recognition and predictive deployment. Together, these technologies form an integrated web. This is not about isolated tools. It is about the consolidation of every facet of our lives into data that can be then queried, flagged, and shared across agencies. And don't insult us by saying this data is only used and owned by LAPD. The data collected will be funneled into federal databases and fusion centers like the Joint Regional Intelligence Center, where it will be shared with agencies like ICE, the FBI, and CBP. And this is how the stalker state works, through layered distributed access. This is not just a surveillance program. This is an infrastructure of harm built deliberately to ensnare Black, brown, undocumented, disabled, and poor communities. And this is the architecture of the stalker state, one where every single movement becomes data, one where every data point then becomes suspicion, and every person becomes trackable across space and time. That's not safety. That is predictive policing dressed up in bureaucratic language. And that is an empire of suspicion that criminalizes people before they've ever even acted. And to Anthony Sowell's family, LAPD may not have been the direct murderers this time, but they still handcuffed Anthony's lifeless body before they administered aid. And we've asked you this before, but how do you sit here time and time again, families coming here week after week, begging you to care, to give them even a sliver of information for closure, and you just sit here in silence? You can hear their screams outside the door and you don't care. You can't offer them even a message of consolidation. You just tell them to go talk to another pig as if they'll give them even any useful information. It's shame, and that these deaths are still on your hands because you allow this policing to continue to function. You strengthen this policing. You give them the tools to be able to murder. And so that blood is still on your hands and you don't care.
Hamid Khan.
And this is how we will keep on exposing you, and this is how we'll keep on disrupting you. So with this comprehensive technology report, let's talk about the background, how we got here itself. In 2022, the LAPD recruited a police consultant from Oakland. His name is Brian Hofer. And when we filed for public records and got all the emails between Brian Hofer and the LAPD, what we identified was that when they made this proposal of, first of all, having a community police advisory board over information technology, over 30 organizations in Los Angeles joined hands and completely rejected that. That didn't happen. We rejected this establishment of just this supposedly having guardrails and oversight because we know that's a fraud. So we found in these emails Jim McMahon, who's the now deputy chief or something, and his deputy at that time sending an email, and we have published those emails directly to Brian Hofer, that the chief wants a community representative in this presentation to approve this whole process.
God, go lay down.
Now imagine that a person from Oakland who's a police consultant is being recruited where the people of Los Angeles have completely rejected that. Rasha Shields, we sent all of that information to the police commission that this is a conspiracy. This is about manufacturing consent. This is how you are now bringing somebody from Oakland to represent the people of Los Angeles. That in what fucking world is that a people's oversight? In what world is that people's oversight? So what we have is now a memo. Thank you to Stop LAPD Spying Coalition. I know I'm a part of that thing, that we are the people that we keep them on their toes, and we keep on exposing their bullshit. Because we've had to sue the city 16 times over the last 8 years to get all these public records. They have not released those public records on Peregrine. They have not released public records on flock safety to us. However, that is being exposed. Over 1 billion detections of license plate readers. Where is that information going? That's why we call it the stalker state. That's why we call it that, how you monitor, trace, follow, stalk, and harm people. A video was just released about an hour ago of 9th in Los Angeles, where the LAPD is protecting ICE agents, masked ICE individuals, and see that on your Instagram post or your social media later. Right now, as we were coming in here, a video was released in 9th in Los Angeles that how they're kidnapping and snatching, and they're right there. Talk about the fucking myth of Sanctuary City. Talk about that the city of Los Angeles will not provide personnel or resources in civil immigration enforcement when you have these masked people coming in and kidnapping them right there. What about those videos from the West Side yesterday from Westwood? That LAPD is going in there, shaking hands very warmly.
Thank you.
Bullshit. We'll keep on exposing and disrupting because this shit will go.
Aiden?
Contrary to what you pigs preach every week, in this city where I was born and raised, the status quo has always included violent repression of constitutionally protected protests by city, state, and federal agencies, forced disappearances of Angelenos, including U.S. citizens and immigrants here legally. What's less familiar is these things being done by unidentified bounty hunters instead of the LAPD. These rapidly escalating violations of due process, including warrantless searches and arrests, unchecked police violence, and attacks on and arrests of journalists trying to report the situation on the ground, are unacceptable. Even as we have been in this meeting, like Hamid just said, your little oinkers have been assisting their fascist brethren at 9th and Spring, a few blocks from where you lie every week about not assisting ICE. I have heard police sirens and helicopters at all hours of the day and night. I have watched people being dragged out of their homes, jobs, and places of worship and thrown into cages like animals in the federal building that your pigs protect. I have watched police shoot, beat, gas, trample, and arrest my fellow Angelenos. Your pigs are firing lethal munitions, poison gas, and trampling citizens under no known rules of engagement. These abuses of force are happening at such a rate that even with your many cameras and superficial oversight committees, you don't know what is happening on the ground and you cannot control it. I know you're paid not to care and maybe not even to pay attention. Where was I? But this lack of accountability has already cost our city $29.5 million as of 4 days ago. This doesn't take into account the many legitimate civil cases that your pig lawyers will settle as quietly as their cloven hooves will allow for untold more hundreds of millions in taxpayer money. But the pigs are hungry and they want even more money. They want to fly. Helicopters were not enough. Even more tools for oppression and surveillance. You want drones. More surveillance in the hands of police is inherently harmful because the police have a vested interest in protecting themselves and their concerns, as members of this community have demonstrated time and time again, as they have been ignored by this commission. Over 1 billion hits, over 1 billion of them useless. Anthony Orendorff jailed for a whole weekend and not charged. just for reporting what masked unknown entities are doing in your city that you claim to protect. This kind of technology and the things that predated it have been and will continue to be used by this council and the LAPD to further criminalize and marginalize communities who are already the primary targets of state violence. Among them, LGBTQ people, happy pride, immigrants, fuck ICE, and anyone at odds with the racist, capitalist, imperialist patriarchy. The real legacy of the LAPD and this council as it relates to pride is doxing and publicly shaming LGBTQ plus people, targeted police surveillance and harassment of gay spaces, and the bodies of radicalized and cis heteronormative criminalization of sex work, to name a few.
Mr. President, that was our final speaker.
Thank you. The commission will recess for 10 minutes. We'll return at 11:05. Thank you.
Well, I guess that's done. I'm going to leave this part of the meeting. Yeah, that's the best. Tomato, cucumber. Ooh, hot pepper and spicy dust. Ooh, yeah, that sounds really good. Okay, you guys, sorry they didn't call on more people. Yep, save your words for next week, Haggis. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go try and find something else for lunch because my lunch got stolen. So much love to you. Let's go hit audits, make sure everything's good with there. I'll talk to you later. Bye.